If you're watching this, it's 2021 and there's a global shortage on happiness, and I don't know how you found this video, but this is what 30 days of FPV by somebody who's obsessive compulsive, this is what it looks like. But I'd like to explain how I got here and how I don't think this is necessary, and this is what I would do if I were you. When I was researching transmitters, I settled on the Jumper T Lite, which I actually like. I think it's a very good radio for the price. I ordered that, the DJI goggles, a couple of batteries, and a Beta FPV Beta 95X V3 quadcopter. I settled on that because, frankly, the other couple quadcopters that were whoops, that were sort of protected blades, were sold out. Luck would have it, when this arrived, it all arrived at once, and I managed to get it working. It took me almost 24 hours. I had problems with Betaflight. I had problems with cords. I had problems with the quad itself. I had problems, all kinds of problems. I did Googling, and one thing I learned is I am not Joshua Bardwell, and I'm going to break shit today. So I ordered the quadcopter, an extra frame, extra props, extra motors, and I took it out, and after flying Velocidrone for the first, I don't know, week, and then taking this out to a fairly tight course, I was able to fly this around a gymnasium and around outside. After 1 week of never flying a quad before, I was able to put it on and fly it around. So what did I do? I ordered a camera, spent another $300. And it worked well. This quad flew this little Insta360 camera great. So now I'm in it for $600 plus everything else, you know. You're looking at $1,000 if you want decent stuff. You're looking at $500-600 if you want really cheap stuff. So that's the flat out the gate. So in this time of flying this, I thought, should I send it back and should I buy the DJI? And the answer was no, because after I spent proper time Googling it, I realized that I would just crash it into the ground. It would explode, and I would be spending money getting it fixed where I couldn't fix it myself. So I stuck to this. And I had settled on this, and I was flying it, and I was having a lot of fun. And I was flying it around with this HD video. I made a video of my friend's house where I learned to fly the quads all around the outside, all around the inside. I'm hopefully showing you some footage now, depending on how lazy I am with my editing. I enjoyed it. So next step, right? That's what we're looking for. What do we do next? So this is where I spent all the wrong money buying all the wrong things. Bought an Emax Tiny Hawk. I flew it once or twice. I wasn't feeling it. I sent it back. So then it came to me. If this small drone was awesome, and I watched videos by Captain Drone and some other people, and they said that the Crown HD was the best Cinewhoop you could buy, that's probably what I wanted. So I bought it. And I hated it. This didn't fly anything like this. This is for scooting around, a little bigger camera. It isn't enjoyable to me. So what's next? This is where it gets interesting. The next step was Google. And I decided that the reason I didn't like these quads was because I didn't like this controller. Now, I actually liked this controller a lot. And then I ordered this one. And I hated it because the sticks were just too stiff compared to that one. But I took it apart. I loosened the sticks. There's tons of videos that show you how. And I like this, and it saved me a ton of headaches with binding. So lesson one is, if you can afford to get quality kit, get the DJI goggles and the controller, or get the best set of goggles you can get and a very solid full-size controller that you have access to the menus and you're able to do things on, so that it's easier on you to configure things. Now, there's nothing wrong with that controller, but as a very new person, I didn't know that I had to have my inputs and my mixes set. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to set things up. I didn't know the difference between D8 and D16. I didn't know which FrSky to select. I spent hours just trying to bind a receiver. You don't have that with this. So if you can go DJI and you're not going to be complaining about a few milliseconds and you want to learn to fly with less headaches, this is your best bet. That's my first thing that I learned. No, the first thing that I learned is bigger isn't better when it comes to drones. This is, you have to know what you're wanting to fly before you buy it. How you want to fly, what you want to do. Kept coming back to this guy. With this guy, I could put it in acro mode and I could do loops and banks and move between things and get agile, and that was fun to me. So what's the next step? The Baby Hawk HD. I had learned my lesson with the receivers. I actually had bought this and it wasn't soldered. So the only thing I could get it working with was this radio because I wasn't ready to solder. So I flew this drone and I flew this drone and I flew this drone for 3 or 4 straight days. I probably put 5-6 batteries through it each day until I got to the point where I was confident that I can control this. And after having started on the simulator, never once did I lose control of my drone and not know what I was doing. I did stupid things. I clipped trees and I got it stuck a couple times and I hit things I shouldn't have hit or came in too hot into the ground. That happened. But after flying the simulator, I never lost control with my hands. So the simulator definitely builds the muscle memory that you need to fly these drones. So what's next? So the next thing I ordered was the Nazgul 5. Now, it was a V1, but it has mostly all the V2 parts except for the flight controller, which is a F7, and it has the old micro USB. And this drone flew better than the Baby Hawk, and it's easier to fly. So lesson 2 is, I would say you should just, if you have the room, if you're not going to try to learn inside, start with a Nazgul, an iFlight, something that has actual customer service. There's a lot of drone companies. I've owned now Crown HD, I've owned the Baby Hawk, I've owned the Tiny Hawk. I now have 3 of these. I just find it easier and more stable to fly, and I can do what I want to do and I can work on it without squeezing things in and putting jumpers on. So the smaller quads are great for learning, but they are a pain in the neck to repair and a pain in the neck to work on, and ultimately they don't even fly as stable as a 5-inch quad. I ended up buying a second Nazgul Evoke. So you're looking at 380 and 450. And the Nazgul Evoke this is a dead cat. This is an X. This is the best flying quad that I've flown so far. This is a great quad. This is a better quad. But this one, the stress is less. So I would say that the base, the V2 Nazgul is where I would start if I could start all over again. This is what I would buy. I'd buy the 6-cell. I'd buy some 4-cell batteries and some 6-cell batteries, and I would start here. But there's more. This week, I found the 4-cell and the 6-cell Nazgul or V2. It's a V1, V2. It's all in the middle because this actually has the LEDs for under $300. There's probably 5 left. I'll put a screenshot. Maybe you'll get them, maybe you won't. Well, no, you won't because nobody's going to watch this. But this quad I just received, so I am now at about 28 days into this with 2 days left. I'm filming this, and in 2 days I start with the last step of my process. What's that? I knew you'd ask it because nobody's watching. I went to Get FPV and I ordered the Xylo, Joshua Bardwell's drone kit. And this is what I'm going to do on day 30 of my journey. So This is beginning FPV, but let me break this back down to what I think it should be. Let's do this quick. On a budget, this is the best way to start. Under $100, this Beta FPV Beta 95X V3 pusher. Get it in analog, get it in digital. I prefer digital. Or get your goggles. If you're going to get digital, get the digital and get the DJI goggles. If you're going to go analog, I don't have any experience with analog goggles, but you're not going to spend much, and this is going to be the most bang for your buck to be able to move right into doing real freestyle maneuvers with a real quad at full power. This is where you start. Skip everything else. Now, let me step up. This is where you start. If you don't have any skills and you want to fly inside and take cinematic shots, this will do. With a camera on it, you can get great cinema. Without the camera on it, you can do freestyle. If you don't want to do camera, if you don't want to film, go straight to this. It's $300. You can buy it buying straight to FrSky. You can use those goggles. You can buy the analog version and hook it to a $100 pair of goggles. This flies almost like a full-size quad. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. The problem is going to be working on it. So I wish I had skipped this and gone straight to this, which is my pick if you're going to start FPV right now and you have under $1,000 or you're limited. Buy the iFlight Nazgul, buy a T-Lite radio, either the controller style or a full size. You can buy a jumper radio, get FrSky receivers, put whatever goggles you're going to run on it, and you will be able to do anything that you see in any of these videos with this quad. And right now, this LED version, which is identical to that one, as far as I can tell, I haven't popped it apart yet. It looks identical, except it's got the LED motors on it. You can't beat it. Now, point 3, the last point of starting FPV. It can be stressful. It can be really stressful. You can have anywhere between $300 and $1,000 in the air at any given time. The more money you have in the air, the less experience you have, the more stressful it is. So, I already had a GoPro 9 from some other work that I do with building props and taking video. So I've already had this. So I've flown this about 3 or 4 times, and each time it stressed me out. It wasn't fun. So I don't suggest that you strap a GoPro, an actual GoPro, onto your quad until you've flown for a while and you don't have any more pressure from flying, if either monetary or skills. If you don't have pressure, this is great. If you do have pressure, there are other options. The 360 Go, this is the 360 Go 2. It's a great camera. I can't say enough good things about it. I actually prefer this to the GoPro simply because it comes with software that allows you to do most of the things that the GoPro will do at 80%, 90% the quality for 2/3 the price, and it's much smaller. The form factor is tiny. The cool thing about this camera is there's quick settings, so it's easy to set it up to do what you want to do. I can click the button once while it's off and it will start in one mode. I can turn it on and run it and it will film in a totally different mode. That's really nice if you want to film yourself talking and then film on the quad and you don't want to change settings on the phone. So I can't really say enough about this. I love this camera. I just don't use it enough because last week I ordered the Runcam 5. So the Runcam 5 Orange, this camera does not have the stability of a GoPro, but it's $100. I dropped this from 40 feet in the air today on my quad when it lost signal onto concrete. It broke the zip ties off and it rolled across the street. Camera's fine, no damage. This is probably the best bang for your buck. It's 1/3 the price of the Insta. It's a quarter the price or a fifth the price of a new GoPro, and it gives you 75% of the video quality. And if you have Adobe or some other video editing, I don't know if it works in RealSteady. If somebody knows and actually watches this video and wants to post in the comments, cool. But this will lower the stress. All of your 5-inch drones will carry this and you won't even know it's on there. I actually prefer to fly with this on. It gives me a little more weight. And I was able to cast myself through holes and through trees and things today while practicing. So that's the last of my tips. I hope this helps. I hope this helps somebody that wants to try to figure out how to start FPV and what to buy without spending a ton. I was going over some feedback, and one of them is, you're terrible. And that's the point. I am. That's why I'm making these videos, because I'm terrible. That's the point, right? So we all start out terrible. But the learning curve is able to be brought down if you do a little research and you find what you're looking for before you start. So if you've got any questions, reach out to me. I'll help any way I can. When I'm not doing this, I'm building software. When I'm not building software, I'm building movie props. So I'm fairly busy, but because of my hurt neck and my inability to do some other things, I've got more time, and I'm sort of chronicling a few of these journeys that I'm making over the next year while I figure out how I can get my neck fixed or how I'm going to live with it. And as I do that, I'm going to pour myself into different little projects 30 days at a time and film them. And then I'll keep up with some of the progress on them. But I just wanted to get some of this information out there to hopefully help someone the same way that pouring through video after video after video helped me. So that's it. Deuces. Hope you enjoyed. Actually, I don't really care if you enjoyed, but I hope I helped you. See ya. Maybe. Nope. Bye now. Yep, that'll make it better. I'll just buy one. Yep. You know what? I'll just buy two. Buy them all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?